This conference will now be recorded.
So to write something, it is called write hyphen host and space. Then you give something in quotes. And then how do you declare a variable in let's say PowerShell? Dollar something is equal to. Then in quotes you declare a variable out there. Okay, and then we said, okay, fine. If you have an array of objects and then you want to do a write host on each and everything, we did what? A for each loop. We said a for each is equal to something like this. Now let's do one more program today. Now I want to design a very simple calculator out here, which tells me what are what are the even numbers and what are the odd numbers between 1 to 10. Okay, so this is a very simple calculator what I'm designing. So I have a list of numbers like from starting from 1 all the way up to 10. I just want my PowerShell console to just understand what are the numbers, see what is the logic out there, and then tell me whether the number is even or whether the number is odd. Like this is what I want to do. So let's do one approach here. So initially, what all do I need? Firstly, if I have to start writing this program, I need 10 numbers, right? From 1 to 10. I need 10 numbers here. Secondly, I need a logic to tell PowerShell because PowerShell is it's completely driven by our intelligence, right? So we have to design a logic. So how do you say that the number is even or odd? Very simple. If you divide a number by 2 and if it leaves a reminder of 0, then the number is even. If it doesn't leave a 0, it's odd. So any number. So we have a number divided by 2, and if the remainder is equal to what? 0, then we say the number is even, right? Or the number is odd. Two possibilities out here. So even and odd out here. So even and odd out here, right? So this is the logic what I want to design. So firstly, I want to firstly declare 1 to 10 numbers. How do I do that? It's an array, right? It's an array of numbers. So I say dollar numbers. I take a value called what? Dollar numbers. I say equal to at the rate open and close parenthesis the declaration of an array, and I start writing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so on and so forth. Now if there are 10 numbers, this is okay. But let's say your program slightly gets complicated and it says please find numbers between 1 to 1000 and please tell me what are even and odds. Then imagine the time it takes to even write these numbers, right? Like instead of that, I could have just done a Google and say, okay, fine, whether this number is even or odd and stuff like that. So this is not a smart logic for me to go ahead and write all these numbers out here. So what is a better way of doing it is that if you want to write numbers from starting from 1 to 10, right? What I'll do is that the first number 1, I know my last number which is 10. In between the first number and last number, I'll give two dots. Just two dots, write the last number. Now if I just print it out and if I now say, okay, fine, let me do this. And if I now just type in just the numbers, okay, if I just print it out or if I just print the this numbers out here, I get what? 1 to 10. If the requirement is 1000, just change the last number. If let's say it is not 1 to 1000, it's 51 to 1000, then change the first number. If I do a 51 to 1000 out here, the numbers are going to start from 51 all the way to 1000. So it started from what? 51 and it went all the way to 1000. So to keep it simple, to keep things simple, I'll just take initially 1 to 10 numbers. Okay, we can later write a logic. And for me, right, see, I'm doing a lot in the output console. I'm doing a lot of things in the output console. I want my output console to be clean so that I can understand what is the output and etc. In order to clear whatever is there or whatever is printed out on the output console, the command is cls, clear screen. Clearing it out, and I'll say, okay, fine. This is not 1 to 1000, but this is just 1 to let's say 10. to just begin with. I'm saying these are the list of numbers that I have right now. Now I want to firstly go for each and every number, and I want to see whether the number is getting divided by 2 or not and is leaving a remainder of 0. So what I'll do is that this is an array and I need each and every number in this array. So if this is a number, if this is an array, I'll do a for each loop over this array. So I'll say firstly for each, open and close parenthesis, open and close flower brackets again. And I'm saying for each dollar number in dollar numbers. So I am taking an empty variable known as what? Dollar number here. And I'm saying for each number in this particular array. Now what I want to do is that firstly, I want to see what is the number that I'm calculating right now. So I'll do a very simple write host statement out here telling that write hyphen host, the number being calculated is space dollar number, not numbers, but dollar number. So I want to see, so I am inside the for each loop right now. So if I do a print here of a dollar number, then it's going to give me individual numbers out here. Now I will say that if, okay, and this is the syntax of if open close parenthesis, then the open and close flower brackets out here. And in those open and close parenthesis, in this open and close parenthesis, I can now give a condition. I can now say if, and I will open another open and close parenthesis out here because this is a mathematical function that I'm writing. So I'll say if dollar number divided by 2. How do I give a divided by? It's a percentile symbol by 2 is equal to 0. Now if this value, whatever is there in this bracket is equal to 0, then that number will be even, right? So how do I give an equal to out here is that I do a space hyphen EQ equal to 0. If this is equal to 0, then I say write host number dollar number is even. And for all the even numbers, I wanted to print it out in, let's say, yellow so that I can separate things out. So I'll say yellow. Now, if this is not equal to 0, if it is anything other than 0, I want to say that this is odd. So what I'll do right now is that say after if, I'm opening up another statement known as else. So if that particular condition is not getting satisfied, then I'm telling that okay, fine, come inside another condition known as else. I'm not giving anything like a parenthesis, anything like a condition out here, because my condition is given at line number 7, where I'm saying if the dollar number percentile 2 is equal to 0, like if this condition is satisfied, then go inside something known as an if loop. If that condition is not being satisfied, then come down to something known as what? Else loop out here. So I'll say write host number dollar number is odd. So I'm doing two things out here. So if I want to go through my script, the very first thing that I'm doing, so before I even write a script, the approach that I follow is that I just make a note of it, that how can I break my script, that I need firstly numbers 1 to 10. Then if this is the logic, then how can I write my logic, using which loop can I write my logic out right now. Now what I'm doing right now is that initially I have a for each loop, because I wanted to check, or I wanted to go over each and every number that is there inside this particular array. So I did a for each loop out here, And then I said I came inside the for each loop, and I'm talking about each and every individual number right now. I said the number calculated is what dollar number. So I am checking which number, or I'm printing which number is being calculated right now. And after that, I am now giving my condition. Now this is how I am giving my condition. I'm saying if the dollar number percentile 2 is equal to 0, then I said okay fine, right host the number is even, or the number is what, odd. So let's try to execute this program right now, and let's see what do we get here. So I'll just do a control A, and I'm just running a selective. So I'm just doing control A and running this out. So I am able to get it right. So I said, okay, fine. The number being calculated is 1. Where is this line coming from, guys? 5, line number 5. So I'm now checking what is the number. It said the number being calculated is 1. It firstly went inside the if loop and it tried to satisfy this condition. So firstly we have 1. So if 1 divided by 2 is not equal to 0, right? 1 divided by 2 will leave a reminder other than 0. And it now said, okay, fine, this if loop is not getting satisfied. I will go into the else loop and I'll print this out as a number is odd. I'll print it out telling that the number is what? Odd out here. Then it came into 2. So 2 divided by 2 is a 0. So it went inside the if loop. So if loop, the condition got satisfied here. So this is the condition it checked out. The condition got satisfied. It went inside the if loop and it said, okay, fine. Right host, the number is what? An even number. And then it's doing the same thing for 3, 4, 5, whichever numbers that you are giving here. Okay. Is this okay, guys? Any questions with this program? Did anyone not follow this out? Any questions here, guys? Now, going forward, what I need right now is that yes, this program is great, but I also need one thing. I want to make sure to store all the even numbers and all the odd numbers, whatever is there between 1 to let's say 999, okay, 1000. Okay. I want to store them in two separate files. Even number is in one text file, odd number is in the other text file. So what I am going to do out here is something like this. Firstly, I will change the numbers here. 999. So I just change this. And now I am saying the number being calculated is so and so. Now, even before going into the if, or even inside going into let's say the for each loop, what I'm going to do here is that I will declare two empty arrays. I'll say even numbers is equal to at the rate open and close parenthesis. I'm doing even numbers open and close parenthesis, and I will do another array called odd numbers open and close parenthesis. I am declaring what? Empty arrays. There is no value inside this array. I'm just declaring empty arrays out here. Now what I will do out here is that if the number, now the number if it's divided by 2 and it's equal to 0, here in the line number 11 I'm just printing it out that the number is even, or else I'm going inside here and I'm printing it out that the number is odd. Now after 11, what I will do is that whichever number is even, I want to take that number and add it inside this particular array. Whichever number is odd, I want to take that particular number and add it inside the second array. So I need two arrays. Now text file comes later for me because right now my program is here. It's not completely developed right now. My program, I'm just thinking that whatever numbers are coming as even, I want to just take that number and just store it inside this particular array. because arrays are that for that particular purpose. So yesterday until now we said how we can declare an array. Now I am saying how I can add things into an array. So first thing, so what I'll do out here is that I will say dollar even number. This is the empty array that I have, right? I'll say plus equal to, meaning add something into that particular array, and I'm saying equal to dollar number. Here the dollar number will always be even. Inside this particular if statement, whatever dollar number that I'm checking will always be what? An even number. So with that logic, I am saying dollar even number plus equal to, meaning whatever number is even, please make sure to add it into the array, into the null array that I have declared it on line number 2. So I am taking all the numbers and I'm adding here to this particular array. Now what I'm going to do is that I'll do the same thing for else loop. I'll do an enter. Now here I'll say dollar odd number plus equal to what? Dollar number. So dollar number. Now what I'm going to do is that let's execute this entire program again. So let's see. So as of now, let's just clear the screen out. As of now, the even and odd numbers here, right? These are two empty arrays. So if I print out even numbers, no value is coming out. If I print out odd numbers, no value is coming out here. So I'm just copying, I'm just doing a control A and I'm executing my script right now. And right now it's all calculating the numbers from 1 to 999 and it is printing out everything, what number is odd, what number is even and everything. Now if I print this even numbers and odd numbers, if I say even number, I have all the numbers until 998 because 999 was odd. And if I now take another array which is odd numbers, it has what till 999. So everything 991, 3, 5, 7, all these are coming out as what? Odd numbers. Now my duty is to make sure that I have something like a text file and just print out or I'll just copy out all the numbers from, coming out of this particular arrays. Meaning one I have an even number array, the other I have an odd number array. I need two different text files right now, which can now tell me what are even and what are odd. So what I'll do that after the entire for each loop. So what I'll say is that my for each loop is starting at line number 5 and it's ending at somewhere around line number 23. Now I am done with my for each loop. My for each loop, everything is like, working great. I can just collapse this. How can I do that? There is a minus symbol here, right? I can say minus and everything will get collapsed because I am done working on for each loop. I don't want to work anymore on this particular for each loop out here. And after this, I'll just do an enter because my for each is done. I'll say dollar even number and I will use something known as a pipeline symbol. What is a pipeline symbol? If I do something called like this, it's simple a vertical line out here. Now this symbol is found, let's say out here. Let's say if I open my onboard keyboard, on-screen keyboard. Now this is the symbol what I'm really concerned about. Okay, it's not coming here. So this is the symbol what I'm talking about. Just beside my enter, there's a backslash, and on top of my backslash, there is a vertical line out here. This is known as a pipeline symbol. What does it do is that whatever value is there in the left hand side of this pipeline is being considered as an input. So whatever value is being on the left hand side, it's being considered as an input, and all that input in the right hand side will be treated as an output. So I'm taking an entire array as an input right now, and in the output what I'll do is that I will now use a command telling out hyphen file. So I am doing an out hyphen file, meaning this is the output file and I can give a path to it. Like for example, let's say I'm working on this particular path, which is C users welcome. So what I'll do is that in my particular laptop, let's say I want to store this in one particular drive like H inside a folder known as even odds. So I'm just creating a folder known as even odds. So this is the folder where I want to save the even and the odd numbers. So I'm just copying the path of it, H even, and now I'll come down to my script and open up the brackets here, giving the path here forward slash even dot txt. Now I don't have any files there. I'm just making sure to take this and send it out. Now even numbers already has some kind of value here, right? Now even numbers already have some kind of value here because I have already printed out my, or I have already executed my script. So what I'm doing out in this line is that I want to execute the entire thing. So I just executed one line where I'm taking even numbers as the input, doing a separator known as a pipeline, and after the pipeline I'm saying out file and then giving the path of the file. Now there is no file known as event.txt. There was no file known as event.txt in this particular folder, but right now I have a file which is of a 5 KB length, which has all the numbers that are, let's say, starting from 2 to 998, all the even numbers. I'll do the same thing again, but this time I'll do it for the odd numbers. So can anyone help me? How can I write a logic here for odd numbers? Dollar odd number, line out hyphen what?
Out file.
File, and then whatever path this is, I'll just take this path. I'll just change the name of the file to odd.txt. So I don't have an odd.txt, and if I execute this out right now, that file will be generated called odd.txt. Simple text file, you can also go ahead and say, if you want a CSV file, you can also say it is out file odd.csv or even.csv. You will get an Excel file there. So we just did a very simple even on odd number file out here. So
So,
the main
so
yeah, yeah.
as we have given the extension as .txt, instead of txt, we can give any extension like PDF or Excel or a Word document.
So PowerShell as of now supports .txt files, .pdf files, and .csv files. So these are the three
Mm-hmm.
things what it supports. And apart from these three extensions, there's also called a .json file. Like JSONs also support using PowerShell. But
Okay.
the popular extension using out.file or out-file is either a text or a CSV.
Okay. Yeah.
So coming back to my program, so this is how we've written it. So again, just taking an array of numbers. I said improvising this particular program. I said I'll have two different arrays which are empty in nature to begin with, even and odd numbers. And then we did a for each loop. And after the for each loop ended, I went ahead and I took the array numbers and I did an out file to send it across into the even.txt and the odd.txt. Okay. Now let's say the requirement is slightly changed. Now this calculator is good, but now I want not 1 to 999, but give a freedom to the user to enter a number. Like this script, right, is being designed for an end user. So I want this script to ask the user for a number. I want the script to ask the user to enter a number, telling that, okay, fine, please enter a number. And then it should calculate whether it's even or odd. clear screen. And right now, in order to read something from the output console, until now we have been writing something on the output console. In order to read something on the output console, it is read hyphen host. It's not a write hyphen host, it's a read hyphen host. And I'll say enter a number. If I execute this line, it's asking me what? Please enter a number. I'll say 2. And now I have a number called 2. So it's just giving an output right now. But if I enter a number like this, am I storing it anywhere? No, I'm just entering it out and I'm just displaying it out. I don't want to do this. I want to store it somewhere. So what I'll do out here is that I'll say dollar number is equal to read hyphen host. Please enter a number here. So I'll say something like this. And if I now execute the dollar number, I am now storing the value whatever the user is entering into a variable called as what? Dollar number. This is where I'm storing the value in. So I'm storing the value here. So what I can do is that this is not an array. It's what? A string right now. I'll say if. Same logic again. Dollar number divided by 2 is equal to 0. Or let's do our logic a bit different. I want to say if the dollar number divided by 2 is not equal to 0, then the number is odd. Else the number is even. So how do I do a not equal to here? Is equal to was EQ, not equal to was NE, not equal to 0. If it's not equal to 0, then I would say write host the entered number, which is dollar number, is odd. Else, simple, I'll just copy the right statement, a right host statement out here, is even. The entered number is also like even and everything. Now what happens is that when I execute the script right now, first thing it's asking for a number. So let me give a number here. So let me give a very simple number like 7. It says the entered number is odd. And if I execute it again, I can give a different number. And now it's working as a calculator. Like it's just calculating whichever number that I'm giving. Now I do not have a limit that I should give a number from 1 to 999 or 1 to 1000 or something like that. I do not now have a limit. Rather, I am using a statement or I'm leveraging a statement called read host in order to read the number. In order to read the number, I'm using something known as a read host. And then I am taking that particular number, giving it here, and then I am basically executing my entire script. Okay, any questions still here, guys? Any questions still here? So in case if you want to append data to already existing file, for example, this is your file, you're already adding to it. So if I do next time, if I add next time, right, it will overwrite the file. If I want to append, space hyphen append. So I am giving a parameter known as what? Append. So this will append to the existing file. Okay, any more questions here, guys? Mm-hmm. Okay, so see, text files again are basic in nature. So let's say you want to do the same thing with CSV. You want a row or a column, then you can do that. CSV or Excel files, you can do that. You can handle those things out. So everything that can be done manually can be done using PowerShell. And now we are using this PowerShell to interact with Windows only. Like, so this is called Windows PowerShell. We are not doing an Azure PowerShell yet. I haven't got into that particular concept yet. We're just doing, as of now, we're just doing something known as Windows PowerShell out here right now. Okay. So let's do one thing then. So yes, we have learned how to do Windows PowerShell, like we have learned the basics of Windows PowerShell. Let's now take these basics and let's now try to do something over, let's say, Azure, because that's the main concept what we are actually getting into. So the very first thing that I want to do to start talking to Azure is module installation. Like what we said yesterday is that we need a module known as AZ module. So we said install hyphen module hyphen name AZ, and before installation we need to make sure that the execution policy is set at unrestricted. This is what we wanted. So we said the command for that is set hyphen execution policy space hyphen execution policy. Meaning in PowerShell, if you want to see something, meaning if you want to read something, the command is get hyphen. If you want to modify something, the command is set hyphen. Let's say for example, my laptop is only running because I have couple of services that are running in the backend. Like I have a CPU and all that stuff, and I have couple of I have basically couple of services which are helping me in my day-to-day operations. And let's say if I want to see all these services, then the command would be get hyphen service or services if I'm not wrong. And it's now showing me that what all these are the services and etc. If I want to change something, then it would be set hyphen something, changing that. So before we get into PowerShell, very importantly, you need to set the execution policy to unrestricted, and we will have to do a module installation, and we are installing one specific module known as AZ module. Again, how to install this module? Very simple. If you do not know at all, we can just go here and we can say install AZ module partial, and the first documentation is going to give you what are the methods that you need to follow, what are the steps that you need to follow before you go ahead and install the AZ modules. And it says okay fine, installation is here in this particular command line which says install hyphen module hyphen scope current user and everything. So you can do a module installation using this particular command. Okay, once you have the modules installed, now how do you know whether the modules are installed or not in your system, or how do you basically identify? Is there two things out here I would see is that now I have a button here which shows all the commands that are there in your PowerShell. So what I'll do out here is that just click on this particular button, and this will take a minute to load, and it will show me all the commands or all the commands basically that I can use or I can be using using this particular PowerShell ISC console. So I'm just clicking on this button and it'll take some time in order to get this. And right now it says okay fine, this is the command palette, and here if I do all, I have something called az.accounts, az.advisor, az.aks and all these things. These are all the modules that we need or that we require to start interacting with Azure. So this is something that I do have. So after you do an installation, please make sure that these are getting reflected. Please make sure that these are getting reflected. This is one place that I will see. If it's not getting reflected here and if it's not really there, the other place that I want to see is this particular path. So I'll go into the C drive of my system or any system out here, go into the program files. Inside the program files, now depending upon whether you're a 64-bit system or a 32-bit system, it depends which folder you need to go. I'm using a 64-bit Windows system, so that's the reason I'm just going into something known as a program file out here. If you are using a 32-bit system, you'll need to go into program files x86, depending upon the version of the operating system that you're using. I'm using a 64-bit system, so I came here into program files and I will just search for a folder known as Windows PowerShell. Here is a folder known as Windows PowerShell in my system. If I go here, there is something known as modules, and all these are the modules that I require. All these are the modules that should be there for you to start interacting with PowerShell. If the modules are not properly installed, you won't see so many folders out here. Simple indicator, if the modules are not properly installed, you won't see so many folders out here. You'll rather see somewhere around 3 to 4 folders, that's it, which are by default coming with Windows. But after module installation, you should be able to see all these things out. Okay. Now, once these are in, once I see that all these are in, I can just close this command palette. And I want to now first start talking to Azure. Now, from the portal, if you want to see what is there in your Azure subscription, what do you first do, guys? Log in, right? You want to log in into Azure. So I now want to log in into Azure using PowerShell. How do I do that? Is by using a command called login hyphen az account. Now, as and when I do a hyphen, it's loading things out, right? This is called IntelliSense. Now, IntelliSense will only load if you have the module out here. This is another indicator that the modules are properly installed or not in your system. So I'll say login hyphen az account. And as and when I give this command, and if I just execute this out, let's take this out. As and when I execute this command, it will now open up a command palette, or it will now open up a dialog box telling, okay, fine, please sign into your Azure account. This is how it's going to open. And it says, okay, fine, please do sign into your Azure account. I see that this is the Azure account that you do have. And I've already signed in, but in your case, you might have to, enter your ID and password and etc. I'll say sign in. And it says, okay, fine, this should get returned in written. Telling that, okay, fine, this is your account, this is your subscription name, this is your tenant ID and etc. Okay, once this is there, this is done. Like I've signed into my Azure account. Now I want to see what are all the resource groups that are there in my Azure subscription. Okay. For that, so if I wanted to see all the services that are there in my Azure, my local computer, I did a get hyphen service. If I want to now see all the resource groups that are there in my Azure subscription, I would do a get hyphen az Azure resource group. That's the command that I'll be using. So I'll say get hyphen az resource group. This is the very first command that I will be using, and I will say and execute out here, and this is now returning something like this. Let me scroll this out, and it's returning me something like, what, you have so many resource groups out here. It says you have something like ASR and something like this. So do I have so many resource groups? I believe I do. So if I, let's say, click on the resource groups, 1 2 3 4 5, something like this. So I have 4 different resource groups out here telling me that, okay, fine, these are all the resource groups and etc. And I'm just getting all the information of those resource groups out here like this. So ASR, East US2, East, the network watcher, RG and everything. So these are some of the resource groups that I do have. Now let's say I want to create a new resource group right now with the name called test-01. So what I will do right now is that I will very simply say $RG name. I'm declaring a couple of variables out here, and I'm saying is equal to test-01. I'll say $location is equal to East US2. I'm just giving 2 parameters out here, and the command to create something in PowerShell is new hyphen. So if you want to modify something, set hyphen. If you want to get something, it is get hyphen. If you want to create something, it is new hyphen. So I'll say new hyphen az resource group space. Now, whenever I'm creating a resource group, let's say in the Azure subscription, right, in the Azure portal itself, if I say create a resource group, it's asking me for a few details like what is the name of the resource group and what is the location of the resource group. Two things, two mandatory things. The same way, how do I pass those two mandatory things out here in PowerShell is that I say new hyphen AZ resource group space hyphen, and as and when I do a hyphen, it's asking me that okay, fine, you have a lot of things out here like the name, location, tag value, and etc. I can say name space. What should be the name that I need to give here, guys? RG name, but yes, exactly dollar RG name, because dollar RG name is the value which is holding my resource group name out here, right? So I'll say dollar RG name hyphen location space dollar ECS2 or location. This is the location, or this is how I'm creating things out. And I'll just execute these three lines out here 8, 9, and 11. So let me now execute these three things. Let me minimize this out and let me say execute this out. Now it said okay, fine. The resource group creation has been done. The resource group creation has been done. It's like test hyphen 0 1 east us 2. Now if I go here and if I just refresh this out, now it will take like a minute or two for the resource group to get reflected on the Azure portal, and I have something called what, test hyphen 0 1. Now another thing out here is that this is good, great, I created one particular resource group. In the same way, now my client wants to create me 10 different resource group starting with test hyphen 0 1, test hyphen 0 2, test hyphen 0 3, 0 4, 0 5, 0 6, 0 7, 0 8, 0 9, 0 10, or 10 basically, sorry. This is how I want to now go ahead and create things out. So what I need is, firstly, again, if I want to break my PowerShell script right now, I need names of resource groups. I need names of RJs that can start with test and have a number something like hyphen 0 1, 0 2, 0 3, and so on and so forth. So I need something like this. So test hyphen 0 2, 0 3, 0 4, so on and so forth out here. So this is something, I have two options again. I can write it telling test 1, test 2, test 3, so on and so forth. Or I can write a logic which can give me all these names. So what I'm going to do is that I had a number logic out there, right? So let me open up a new console here. Let me say CLS clear screen. The first aim that I do have, or the first intention that I do have, is that I need the names of these resource groups. This is the first thing. Like creating a resource group is okay, fine. But I firstly need a name of the resource group to come out for me. So what I'll do right now is I'll say firstly numbers is equal to 1 dot dot 10. I'll do a number. I'm saying 1 dot dot 10 right now. And now I'll open up another array called RG names is equal to at the rate open and close parenthesis. An empty array is something that I'm talking about out here. Now what I'll do is that I will now open up something known as a for each loop. So I am doing a for each iteration, and I am now saying for each number in numbers. I am now saying, I'm not writing, I'm not doing anything out here, but I will just say, okay, fine, dollar $RG names plus equal to test plus hyphen, because I want a test hyphen plus dollar number, not numbers, dollar number out here. Now if I now execute this out and now see what are the RG names that I do have, has something close, test hyphen 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 so on. I'm just missing a zero. I can add a zero out here also by doing so. This is called addition of strings. I have multiple strings out here. I have a test, I have a hyphen, then I'm adding it with the number that I'm getting from here, and I am creating my own array right now. Now what I want to do out here is, again I'll open up a for each loop, because RG names is also an array. It's an array of strings, right? So I'll say for each dollar name in RG names, and now I'll say write hyphen host attempting to create an RG with the name dollar name, because dollar name is the variable which is iterating over something known as dollar $rg names out here. Okay. In line number 14, I will say new hyphen az resource group. I'm creating a resource group out here, and I'm saying hyphen name space dollar name. I am not giving a static name right now. I am now iterating over the loop and giving a dollar name out here, and I'm saying hyphen location is East US 2. And now if I execute this particular loop right now, now it's saying attempting to create RG with the name test-1, attempting to create RG with the name test-2, and so on so forth. And it's able to now go ahead and create this out. So it's at the end of the script, it'll end up creating somewhere around 10 resource groups for me. Guys, any questions with this, guys? Anything that you did not follow in this particular logic that we were writing? Anything, guys? And please, please do let me know if anyone is not following. I'll make sure to explain it again. So please make sure that, because these are all the basics, right? And I'm really focused upon the basics, because going forward, you'll be writing a lot of scripts and everything. And these basics will help you all a lot. No, it's being recorded from the beginning. I'm not really sure what is the issue with GoToMeetings. It sometimes tells that it's being recorded and something like that, but it's being recorded from the beginning. So any questions here, guys? Anything here? Now, what if you want to then remove the resource groups? Now, I have created a lot of resource groups out here. What if you want to remove the resource group? Now, that is something that I want you all to try. The command here is remove hyphen az resource group. So let's say you don't know anything about this command. How do you do that? How do you look at this command? Is that just remove hyphen az resource group, go to the Google search, just do a remove hyphen az resource group out here. This is the documentation what you kind of get. And here you have examples on how to remove something. Here you will have different examples on how to remove something and how to do something like this. Okay. So please let me know if you are facing any issues with this, guys. Any questions that I can take for today? Anything, guys? Yes. So you can do the same thing, like that's what we did, right? So it's a pipeline, then out hyphen file, the entire data in the output console. So you'll have to store that data in a variable and you can copy it out. So it's simple, like the way we are doing even on odd numbers, you can do any logic with the same thing like that. You can copy it. Yeah, okay, you can do that. Yeah, you can do that. That's not a problem. Any questions with this, guys? So please do again let me know. This is a humble request. Please do let me know if you're not able to follow PowerShell, and I'm okay to I'm okay to redo the basics. So please do let me know if there is any issue that you're facing anywhere. Firstly, I would suggest please check the video out again. Once you get the video, please check that out. Please try it out, because PowerShell is something that you will get by practice. These are all logics, right? So this has to be developed over a period of time. So this is something that you'll be getting getting basically from a practice. Another question a lot of people ask me is that being a DevOps engineer, is it mandatory that you'll work on PowerShell? No, not really. Depending upon the job profile again. But 90% of the times, yes, you will have basically you'll have to write a PowerShell script and etc. So please make sure that you have at least a basic of it. Like the development on top of the basic can be done over a period of time, because this is all practice, right? When you do a program, it's all practice out here. But at this point, we're just targeting the basics out. So once you're getting the basics out, you can develop anything on top of it. Okay. So if there are no further questions, guys, we're good to close. Thank you and have a great day. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you.